Hey guys, welcome back to the Roman Roads YouTube channel. I'm Roman.
And I'm Rodez. This is another medley for you. Today we're going to be talking about Tiny Hitler.
Tiny Hitler.
So basically, one of our friends brought he just can't stop talking about Hitler. It's weird. Tall Hitler, fat Hitler, very little odd. But basically it was a
scenario posed
is somebody clones Hitler. They shrink him down and they give him to you.
What do you do with them?
I think it was if you mess with him. Like, do you just get to, like, be mean to Tiny Hitler? And he was real empathetic and saying, no, because he didn't do anything. He's like, but he's got all the memories of Hitler. It's not just shrunken Hitler.
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions. There's a whole bunch
separate.
But no, see, there's a whole bunch of questions, you guys.
Yeah.
One, how small is he? Two, what his age is. If he is would be
the age, I'd say at the time.
At the time of what?
He was Dusseldorfing, man. When we got his DNA, allegedly.
But then it's a clone of Hitler, so it doesn't have the memories.
It does.
It hasn't done anything.
It does have the memories of Hitler. As far as he knows, he is regular Hitler, shrunk down. And I'm going to say about yay big. Like figurine sized. Is it okay to be mean with them? And the idea
because of what real Hitler did.
Yeah, exactly. And I was surprised I came down on no, he didn't actually do anything himself. But then that made me think, what is it that is the person that you're being how much of it is the memories? Like, if Hitler just had his memories wiped all the way back to when he was a kid, do you still stand him trial for stuff? Right?
If he doesn't have the memories, but post the horrible actions,
he commits suicide. He tries to commit suicide, blows out the part of his brain that had those memories, and he's just back to being 12 years old. And he's just I just don't understand.
Put it. Let's take Hitler out of the equation. Let's just put it one of us.
I'm talking about taking Hitler out of the equation. I know I've fallen over. I dropped in my strudels.
Or let's say anybody. Let's say one.
Delicious.
It is delicious. One of us were to lose our memory.
Yeah.
Are you saying would that be a start over?
That's what I'm wondering.
And what would our past mistakes? Would they have any implications or any weight on ourselves in the present?
How much does it change you? Is there an event in your life that was so key to your personality that without the memory of it, it changes who you are entirely? It makes you a more giving person, or it makes you a more afraid person. I'm wondering how much of who we are is really just sort of the natural spirit of us or our DNA versus our experiences, right?
I would assume that experiences have a lot to do in molding who we are, but then who would we be if we... Well, I mean, there's been cases of people losing their memories and not regaining them back and having to kind of restart stuff.
I think the closest example to something being what I'm thinking about would be whenever twins get separated at birth. Yes. And then they do tend to have a lot of the same traits, But a lot of those two also lead some very similar lives because
they live in the
same. They tend to stay in the same class that they both are adopted into the same class. Mm-hmm. And I wonder too, if one was adopted more into an upper class or lower class, or how would that change who they are so much,
Yeah. Well, I know there's a movie that came out. The name escapes me, but it was basically a chick flick kind of movie based on a true story where this guy and his wife had a car accident. The wife ended up...
Channing Tatum, right?
Channing Tatum and Rachel McAdams, I believe.
Yeah.
It made you cry. It made you cry.
Seen it. I saw...
But it was based on a true story where she basically lost her memories.
50 first stays, but just one time.
Yeah, and...
She kept her regular memories after that.
She lost her memories up to a certain point, so everything before meeting her husband... Falling in love with her husband, she had no memory of that.
She remembered dating another dude, and so she was still into it with him. The funny thing I remember is they were telling... apparently, they were getting interviewed, the real couple, on Oprah or something, and they were telling a bunch of stories that he was laughing about, but she seemed to not get it. She still wasn't the person that she was.
But she ended up re-falling in love with her husband, and I don't know if they got married again, or they said they're together. But it was he had to fight again in order to allow her to fall in love with him.
50 First Date style, man. But just that one time. Well, what makes you wonder, too, is, would that annul a marriage? She didn't remember being married to him, right?
Yeah.
She didn't remember that decision. And, too, man, is that kind of a till death do you part, situation? That person is technically, in a way, dead. And then it makes you wonder too with the whole. I don't.
But
know
they're
too much
not.
that's
But see, that's the thing. I mean, they're still the same person.
no,
they just don't have the memories. No, well, I
That's
mean,
what I'm saying. What makes you that person?
like it would be a different case. Let's say that I was to have some kind of head injury and then wake up and say, "Oh no, I'm not this person." And they give a whole different name and say, "I'm Chuck Mangione from Wisconsin." And no, like if I had totally. Has there been any case where somebody has a head injury and they wake up and they have completely different memories?
Those aren't memories. Those are just being delusional.
That's delusional.
Unless you're talking about like people who are allegedly like reincarnated or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I know you're not, so clearly that's not the situation. No, you don't just get new memories. They're not like just floating around. Or are they?
Exactly. Well, yeah, are they?
They're not. But
how do we know? How do we know?
I don't know, man. If I don't get dragons, you don't get fancy memories.
If next recording session I come in and say I'm a completely different person and
great,
say that
I'm
I don't...
happy to meet you. Don't miss the other guy at all. My name goes first.
Okay. Rhodes and Chuck channel.
It would be company. Rhodes and Company.
Rhodes and Company.
Yeah.
Rhodes and Associate.
An associate.
Yeah.
I think company. The company. I don't want to say that. Let's get to know the new you first.
All right.
You know? I think it'd be a good guy.
Now I feel like I have to follow up with this and actually come up with
like a whole little thing of like, who am I? Could be.
Well, you know, funny thing, the whole question, who am I? What makes me me? My 5-year-old the other day, we're just having a conversation and we're talking about past stuff, and I was telling her about stories that's happened in the past, and then she was just out of the blue, just like, "Daddy, who are you?" And it was like, I know she didn't. The tone wasn't intentional, but it had that tone, kind of like, "Who are you? Do you know who you are? You know, what are you? You know?" And I was like, "Wow, that was kind of deep." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "How do I answer? How do I tell a 5-year-old who am I? I'm your father. This is my name."
But then there's other aspects to you, and it's like, which one are you?
And how much do those people around us, especially our children, they know who we are, but they don't know what made us that way too. That's another thing.
That's true.
Imagine how much stuff we're having internally that make us who we are, and nobody knows about it.
Organs mostly.
You have to explain someone who you were.
Yeah.
But you can show them. You have to explain.
Use like language, like in the movie. Was it not Signs? The one where she has to like communicate with an alien language. Arrival, yeah. Or just like somebody who doesn't speak the same language as you. Just like, how do I let them know that I'm a good person? And it's like it's entirely on actions. You can't really, and that's the thing. You can't describe it in pantomime or what else. Who you are. Mm-hmm. You can only do it by actions, and maybe that is the key. Stop trying to figure out who you are and just be the person that you want to become. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm such a better person than you. No, okay, but legit, like I am not who I thought I would be, like on a personal level. Not like I totally thought I was gonna be a cashier. Like I saw that as into the future. It's like I don't like responsibility and I'm kind of lazy. But who I am and just the way I approach situations in the world, entirely different from how I used to be and I thought I'd want to be. Yeah. It was literally just like I don't like who I am, and that whole being true to yourself was an awful person. Don't be true to yourself if you're a jerk. So. Yeah, and you could be better.
Are some people just naturally
definitely
the baseline of the personality?
I think so. They're just self-absorbed, and they it's not like there's a jerk setting, but there's definitely a me before other people setting. And in some ways that could work because you have to help yourself before you help others. But it's whenever the other help doesn't come. It's just like, you're just great. You just believe you're entitled to it. As soon as you believe that you deserve something, you're doomed, good or bad. If you think you deserve, the good stuff in your life, doomed. As soon as you believe you deserve the bad stuff in your life, doomed. Not an irreversible doom, but it's like you're walking into a wall, man.
You got to be like, progress. I have the good and the bad because as I have it. And maybe I don't deserve it, but it is a reaction to
nobody deserves
to something I've done.
Is a sad reality of life and the happy reality too. You don't deserve the bad stuff in your life. You don't deserve the good stuff.
No.
So you could achieve whatever you want, kind of. I mean, within reason. Not everybody's becoming president. You don't get like I don't know, like being able to throw laser beams out of your hands yet. I don't know. What do you... who are you? Who are we? That's the question to not ask.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a dumb one, too. Yeah, man, because it's just our language doesn't fit it, Sometimes we're way too complicated. Sometimes we're way too simple, and it's never the ones that you think they are. And most of the time when somebody says it's complicated, it's freaking simple. And whenever someone says, it's just, the way it is, it's a really complicated situation that they don't want to get into.
Yeah.
You just sort of take it for, like, okay.
The
whole, what is it? Any person's relationship with their family, if it's complicated, it's pretty simple. There's some jerks in there. If, they say, oh, man, they're just who they are, then it's like there's some, neither are good. You got to explain on an individual basis. Ramble over. I can't go any farther with that.
True. Well, I was thinking, sometimes, I'm very surprised by the perceptions that other people have of me, and sometimes the very simple, very shallow, not shallow as in a bad way, but, their perception of me is just based on very shallow information, very limited information. And then sometimes it's like a very complicated idea of who I am that kind of misses the mark. Sometimes they're right on.
What's the mark? Tell us then. Who are you?
Who am I?
Exactly my point. So you may not think that you're being a jerk to these people.
Yeah.
But you could be everything they're saying could be true to them. Like what you see as rude is polite to them and vice versa. Like in some countries, it's bad to like shake hands. That could be a very rude gesture to them.
But I feel like I'm more aware of stuff like that because I remember
narcissism.
I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said something, and I knew that I offended them. I didn't say anything really offensive. I just knew that the way I approached them and the way I just You
knew you were being a jerk, not so much when what you were doing, but
not with what I was saying, but how I said it. And automatically, I was like, "Oh, I messed up here." And I saw that they were upset.
I know exactly how you said it too, with condescension.
Exactly, but it wasn't intentional condescension. But
that's good though. That's good that you know that you got that.
Yeah,
I got condensation too. See,
I see that. Don't.
Spritz. I've made the world a better place. Took you down a notch. You're welcome. Stay down there, humble bundle.
All right.